The hell is that tapping?
Hello, it's Tuesday. Welcome to Just FK with morning coffee. Yeah, I'm not awake yet.
None of us really are.
Okay.
Hi, guys.
Shh. Shh. The coffee's whispering to me.
That lets you say fuck off.
Oh, it tastes so good.
Anyways,
All
guys,
right.
welcome to the show. I'm your host, Floy.
And Kory.
Unfortunately.
Yep. I'm a bit neurotic today.
Yeah. We both are.
Well, neurotic tendencies. So today we'll be discussing dating, self-value, and neurotic tendencies. Because
those actually go hand in hand, and
I actually do think that they do as well. There's a lot of stuff that goes hand in hand, like penises. They go in hand.
They do not go in my hand. Fuck the dick. Seriously.
Okay.
Fuck all dicks.
All right. So
I'm done with them. Oh my god. Okay. So story time.
Story time.
Oh.
Wow, we haven't wanted to have one of these in a moment. Okay.
All right. So like yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine and she was like, why don't you just create an OkCupid account and a Tinder account and go from there? You know, I've seen a lot of poly people on there and I'm like, all right. So, I got on and I created the first, which one was it? Plenty of Fish.
Oh, God.
Within 10 minutes, my account was banned. I kid you not. Totally banned.
That's surprising.
I still don't know why.
I used to be on Plenty of Fish like years and years and years ago when I was like 19. Like solid decade. And you can't delete your profile afterwards, just to let you know. Like they keep that shit on there forever. Like I can still log on to mine.
Well, okay, you can deactivate it. You totally can deactivate it.
They wouldn't let me deactivate it a decade ago.
In my case, I was totally banned. So that says something about my personal quality. Apparently, they don't allow poly couples. Now, they give you the options for all of that, but they don't tell you if you select that, they ban you.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, if you guys want to get rid of your Plenty of Fish account, just put poly down.
Yeah, poly or married.
I'll just put down married.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of married anyways.
Well, so. Yeah, I mean, legally. The government knows I have her now. I can't just leave her in a ditch.
I mean, you could. I mean, you really could. I'm pretty sure that's how Farmer John got rid of Martha.
How am I going to find another woman like that?
I mean, look at the back hills of Arkansas.
No, she's not from Arkansas.
No, she's from Texas.
She's from Texas.
All right. So us Texas women, we are literally the prize to withhold.
You know what? And okay, here's the thing. I've dated a lot of California women.
California women are crazy
as fuck. Every single one of them. Every single girl I dated from California was a fucking basket case.
Yeah. Same thing with the men. Like so I lived in Anaheim shortly. And let me tell you, those people are fucking nuts. Like I haven't.
And I'm not talking about like politically. I'm not talking about like for animal rights or anything. I'm just talking about just plain old sit down crazy. They will key your car. They will put a pickaxe through the hood. Just something. There's a something.
Yeah.
Okay, and they hide it well. That's the thing. They hide it.
They don't even hide it well.
No, they do.
The ones I met.
They do. They hide it. They hide it well for like the first couple of dates. And you get into it, everything's great, and then they're like, "Oh, yeah, I've take dolls apart and hang the heads in my room for aesthetic reasons." And you're like, "Huh, okay. Let me see the shed. Make sure there's not a real heads hanging back there."
Right?
No, don't go in the shed. Okay, bye. Like.
All right. So getting back onto my story time. So, and then I was like, as soon as I got banned from Plenty of Fish, I was like, the fuck just happened here? I'm like, all right. So I moved on to Tinder. And within an hour of creating a Tinder profile, I had over 200 likes on my stuff. I'm like, okay, Well, that's a thing. So, and it was like every single one that I swiped right on, which was very few, given all of the people that were on there. It was like instant match. So now my inbox is flooded with people I don't desire to talk to. But one of them was actually just out of the gate. He was like, he told me a joke.
Great way to, hey, yeah. guys, let me just put this out there, okay?
Hold on, I'm gonna tell you this joke.
All right, tell me the joke.
What can you hold in your right hand that you cannot? What can you hold in your left hand that you cannot in your right hand?
I don't know what.
Your right elbow.
Oh my god.
That was the joke.
Well, that's awesome. That's date worthy.
Okay. It is. It was like, I was like, oh, he's there. And then he mentioned hating his ex-wife. And then started talking shit about his ex-wife.
Okay. Yeah, that's toxic. I mean, unless he has good reason to. But see, that comes kind of with the territory. If you hear somebody like, oh, I hate my ex, or I hate my ex-wife. You
don't put that out on the first.
No. But okay, now there is a bit of psychology behind why men like just get rejection over with. And since men view themselves as, they just go and throw out the dick pic to see if they're going to be rejected for that or not. And when you say no, then they just move on to the next one.
See, and you can't send dick pics on Tinder, thankfully, because there's a lot of fuckboys that are named Kyle in my account right now.
I fucking bet they are. Like,
I swear to God, I was watching one of them this morning. Made me watch the Chad videos. You ever seen the Chad videos? Yes. And like I spent an hour just watching Chad videos as I was getting ready to start my day, because I was just like, all of these responses and texts just literally remind me of typical Kyles and Chads, like fuckboy behavior. Okay. And I've been fooled by some fuckboys before, like some hardcore. Like there's some of them that are good on their fucking game to make that emotional manipulation to the point where they like kind of make you think there's going to be actually something there, and they're on point with that shit, and then there's not, and then you're just like, fuck.
The downers.
That fucks me up.
The down. See, be upfront about who you are. Just tell the truth. If you're a fuckboy, be like, look, I like to get in, get out. If I can do it without no names, that's better. And if you're honest,
see, I'm too neurotic for that. I'm way too neurotic.
See, my thing was always about honesty, and it's been like that since I can remember. I've always tried to be as honest as I possibly can when it came to literally anything. I'm just a blunt person to begin with.
Same. But
like when it came to dating, I've always been upfront. Like my wife, solid 10. And I've always told her, I'm like, look, most people think that I'm a very solid 1. And
I'm a solid 3 myself.
And then, that's
I'm probably how I'm getting all the fuckboys.
Right. Well, like 90% of the people look at me and they're like, you're a 1. And then there's like 10% think that I'm a very weak 2. But my entire point has always been to make my women laugh, because their eyes get all squinty and they can't see me real good, and they don't know what I look like. And that's how I just draw them in.
Hold on, what is it?
You're live casting in another browser window. Finish live.
That's weird. We're not live casting in another.
I don't know. I don't know what this thing is doing. We've had some technical difficulties with Podbean for a while now, so I haven't had the time to get in here and figure out what the fuck it's doing. So,
hold on, is there another browser window open?
No, there's not another browser window open. That's it.
That's strange.
I just leave it.
See, I don't think you're a solid 1 or a 2. Like your personality and your charisma.
I'm actually closer to like a 6 visually, or a 7 visually. I mean, I'm a sexy motherfucker. So, I'm all around perfect and humble.
You're so humble.
So humble. I'm so humble. It's not true at all. I have. Well, no. Okay, all right. I am humble. I realize I'm not perfect, but I like to joke about it.
See, now, in seriousness, like me, I am honest about myself, about my intentions.
Mm.
But once in a while, overthinking fucks me up, and then I just discuss it. Like if I don't discuss it, I become extremely neurotic about it, and I'm just like always with the negative thoughts. What?
Yeah, I'm just okay. I find it funny that the reason why I had a lot of trouble dating is because I was healthy.
God.
Does that make
See,
like
I've got trouble. I've always had trouble dating though. Like I've always been in and out of relationships constantly my entire life.
right? Well, see, okay, like there was a point in time where I wasn't healthy, but I did dedicate myself to getting healthy before attempting to have another person in my life.
Yeah.
And when I was healthy, there was a person who fucked me up, but I waited until I was healthy before I started dating. And it took me a while to get back out there because I kept running into people who weren't healthy. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this to myself again. And that the hardest part of dating for me has always been the fact that I am actually healthy. I'm not depressed. I don't have anxiety. You know, like
God, I do.
I know,
I have
but
really bad
I
anxiety.
don't. I have no anxiety. I'm like, why the fuck should I be worried about something that could be happy? And then I just move on. Like my ability to move past negative shit is just because I realize that I can't do anything about it. So I accept it and I move on.
Yeah.
You know, there's no reason for me to put energy into something that I'm not going to get anything back out of. It's a negative investment.
See, that is exactly my thought process as of lately. I've cut so many people out of my life. As
And
of
you
lately.
feel better, don't you?
No, I really don't. I
Don't?
feel
Really?
awful. I feel like a terrible
Oh,
person.
no, fuck them.
But
Like, no, I don't deal with that shit.
legit. Like I feel like a terrible person because I felt like I could have handled the situation better, or I felt like so like the overthinking in my body thinks that maybe ghosting would have been better.
No, it's never better. Okay, guys, ghosting's never better.
But it's because like I don't. It's hard for me to want to hurt somebody emotionally.
It's not about hurting someone emotionally.
And if I can spare somebody, emotional turmoil or
you're not doing them any favors.
I know, but it's like I want to make everybody happy. So when I go after,
nope, I don't like.
So
really, I have no aspirations. Like when I was younger, I used to feel like everybody needed to be happy. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is your happiness.
No, my responsibility
not theirs.
is to treat everyone how I want to be treated. But I'm finding myself not being treated how I desire to be treated, and my boundaries not being met, and my standards not being met.
Okay.
So a lot of people are going by the wayside.
I understand how you feel. I really do. Because that was how I was when I was younger. And when I say younger, I mean like teens younger.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a need to fulfill other people's desires and put my own desires on the wayside. And
my thing is fucking up.
I realized that
can I use yours?
I can't do that to myself. Okay, I have more respect for myself than I do other people. Like typically, I mean, it's just how it is. I respect myself more. I know what I've been through.
That's what I preach often, but that's also my origin story that I'm still battling to overcome. It's being a people pleaser and trying to make everyone around me happy.
I used to be a people pleaser too, until I realized that they weren't doing the same for me. They weren't giving me the same courtesy. If you want to live by the rule, treat others the way you want to be treated, then treat others the way you want to be treated to those who will treat you the same way. If you treat a narcissistic motherfucker the same way you want to be treated, he will take advantage of it. She will take advantage of it. They will drain you dry, and all you will be left with just empty husk and wanting of some reciprocation, which puts you in a bad spot for your next relationship, because anybody who gives you any kind of validation, you are now their fucking problem. And that's not healthy.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why
I understand this, and I preach this often, and some of our listeners may get it, but I struggle with it daily. Even though I preach it, I still struggle with it. because like I've put up a lot of boundaries for myself lately, and
They are healthy.
in
Boundaries
doing
are always
that-
healthy, guys.
In doing that, it's made a lot of people disappear out of my life. So now I feel
You lose the motherfuckers who aren't there to fight.
Yeah.
See, if someone said, no, this is how it's going to be. I understand why you're putting up boundaries, but let me tell you why this is unhealthy. Okay. If someone's willing to fight for you and through those boundaries and stick there with you through those boundaries, that's someone whose those boundaries weren't put up for.
Yeah.
Those boundaries are put up for the motherfuckers who leave.
Yeah.
And how many people have left?
Everyone.
Okay. Then you don't need them in your life.
And that ultimately makes me feel
You've just met the wrong fucking people. That's really what it is.
I've met the people in our area.
Yeah. Okay. All right. There's something to be said for the majority of people in this area. Like, there's some nice people. There's always nice people. There's always motherfuckers. Now, let me tell you, those guys, there's a lot of them here. Unfortunately. Like, really the issue is the old boy system that's surrounding this place. You know, everybody's from an old family who came out and staked all the land, and then they raised cattle, and they made sure there was a monopoly on something. They had the monopoly on something, and now they still have the fucking monopoly on everything, and they'll refuse to let anything come into this town like a Starbucks or fuck shit.
I miss Starbucks so bad.
It took what was it?
Hold on. I do want to point out for our local listeners here, the reason why I support so much growth, and not only mom and pop growth, but growth in general, is because back home, like, property taxes are half of what we pay. And there is no income tax or tax on groceries.
Yes. Tax here.
And there's much less taxes. So many less taxes. And yet they're a flourishing area, and yet we are heavily impoverished. Just saying.
There he goes. He found the F key.
Hello.
Took a moment. But it's okay. It's still morning time. I am working on...
I don't want to be awake, but I have to be awake because I get off at 8 in the morning. So
I forgot about that. I was like, why the fuck is she here so early? God damn it. I want to sleep.
Okay. So I had an adventure before I got here this morning, right?
Oh, yeah? I assume so, because it took you like a whole hour and a half.
I went to go do the once a month budgets and stuff that I had to do and turn in everything and do all of that. Anyways,
I'm sorry.
The lady at the bank.
Our call-in function right now is broken. We can't hear you on our end.
Yeah, we're not calling right now.
Yeah, well, I'm very sorry. I don't know what the problem is. I've got to figure out what it is.
All right.
On my to-do list.
So I roll up to the bank. I give them the check. She's arguing with me about what my name is. She's like, you need to sign the back of the check. And I told her 3 times I did sign the back of the check. She was like, well, what's your name? And I said, Floyd Goodwin. You know, my name. I gave them my name. And apparently that wasn't a good enough answer because she still continued to argue with me. And it was kind of like, you remember the bacon jerky argument?
Yeah.
I had the bacon jerky argument, but over my name.
Right. And she was probably like, well, is that short for something?
No.
No?
She never once said that.
That would have been at least something I would have asked. Like, what was her point?
I have no idea what her point. She's like, well, I'll cash it this time, but I'm not going to do that in the future.
I bank here, bitch.
I'm just like, what? And then one of the other girls who sees me, like, I don't know if she's a new girl and just with a cunt swab up her ass or something, but she came over and she goes, hey, Floyd, how are you doing? Totally validating the reason why I'm there cashing this check.
Right.
Oh, hold on. What are the comments?
Apparently there is a update. Okay, I'll have to go through and look at everything then.
Okay.
Oh, we'll get to it after this update, and I'll go through and see if I can find what I'm looking for. honest to God, I'm so tired right now. I have no idea what that computer is even telling me. So
it's like, so that's what kind of what I've been dealing with lately. That
Right.
mentality. It's people arguing.
I'm right, you're wrong. Mentality.
And we're arguing towards the same goal.
Right.
And I don't understand it.
Okay. So, if you are going to argue with somebody, anybody, the basis of an argument. Well, actually, no. I don't think you should argue ever. If you're going to debate, and that's the word I'm going to use, debate, you need to listen to the other party and what they're saying. You might very well be wrong. And the entire point of a debate is to come to a conclusion, maybe even change your stance on something. Just because you feel like you're right doesn't mean you're right. Okay? There's a lot of times where I feel like I'm right and I am wrong and I hate it, but I accept it as something that happens occasionally, quite often, and I accept that, and then I move on, and I do my best not to be wrong in the future by researching and doing what I need to make sure that I'm not wrong. But I still hold the belief that even though I know I'm not wrong, I need to pay attention to what the other person says, because I might have come to my conclusion on my own perception, on my own reality. And they have come to the conclusion based on a much better way of viewing it. And you need to pay attention to what other people say.
Yeah.
Like the bank argument was useless. She was just arguing to be a bitch. Okay, like that's really what it boils down to.
Telling me 3 freaking times to sign the back of the check. Okay, so here's the thing. The reason why I think there was confusion with the check, because it was made out to 2 people like it usually is, because of my job that I have to do. I have to, I'm in charge of a lot of finances and stuff like that. And it was a rather large check, a couple of $1,000s actually.
Right.
So it was a rather large check. And she was like, "Is your name blah, blah, blah?" And I was like, "No, it's Floy." And she was like, "Is that with a D?" No. I fucking hate that.
It's because you got rid of the D.
It's just a name from another country. It's not American, okay?
Actually, it's another name from like another country 1600 years ago. Okay? Your name is so... I actually did a lookup. There's only like 5 people total that have your name. Like, it is a very old name.
Yeah.
It's actually really cool.
And then the majority of the people with my name are deceased.
Yes, the majority of your name are deceased. It's like in the 1600s, deceased. Like, it's not a common name.
She would not believe me that my name was my name, essentially. And so I was like, "Do I need to provide ID?" She was like, "Well, you sent so-and-so's ID." I was like, "Yeah, because that's what I usually do, because I'm just the co-signer for it."
Right.
And she just would not stop. She's like, "Well, is your name so-and-so?" And I was like, "No, it's Floy."
Did you go in the bank or were you in the drive-thru?
Okay, they don't allow anyone in the banks right now. It's all a drive-thru.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I totally forgot about COVID-19, that was a thing.
Yeah.
Thank you. I had a great 3-day weekend because of that. I completely forgot all the problems of the world. Like, do you guys remember that time we had an epidemic and the government released that there were aliens? Yeah, me too. So,
speaking of, I have 16 new messages. 16 just while we've been doing this podcast for Tinder.
That's actually quite impressive.
I mean, okay, so I'm very photogenic. I look like shit in person. Stop talking to me, people. Like, serious.
No. You have your days where you doll up. Like, my wife dolls up.
I can doll up and look like 1950s glam and pull and slay some shit. But the majority of the time, I'm in sweatpants and a crop top, and I'm like, "Fuck you! I'm not brushing my hair for 2 weeks."
Here's the thing, like, and this is just me, maybe, but as a husband, when my wife walks around in her sweatpants, and because she does often, like, that shit's hot. Okay, It is. I gotta watch the ass jiggle, and I
Well, I
like
have
it.
an entire video on my Facebook profile dedicated to your wife's ass.
I know. It's amazing. My wife is so hot.
And like the listeners that are actually on my Facebook right now, they're gonna be like, all right, let's go find this video.
My wife is so hot. Like she's way better than I deserve. I know that for certain.
Nah, you're very charismatic, dude.
I am okay. All right. Here's the thing. And there's a lot of women that are probably going to be angry at me, but let me just put this out there, okay? Typically, men are a lot funnier than women.
They are.
Okay.
I agree.
And let me explain to those of you who don't agree why I believe this. Okay. Men are funny because we have to be funny. No man is a good-looking man unless he's born looking like Adonis. Okay.
That's not necessarily
And that's not
true.
there's a lot of men who don't look good. And we know this.
No,
So
I think you guys, you're not filled with confidence.
Oh no, absolutely
and told
not.
that all you look good. So you're in your own fucking head, tearing yourself down.
Right. But hold on. Because of that, we have this amazing thing called comedic genius. Okay. See, men feel like we have to compensate. So the best way we do that is through jokes. And by God, if you look like ass, the funnier the guy is, typically the worse he looks. Okay. And you can, like Louis C.K., God, he looks like a trash can.
I would fuck.
I know you would. That's because that's your fucking. That's your dude. Okay, that's your fucking style right there. Balding redheads. Like
no, not only it's the beard thing.
It's the beard. It is
like
the beard.
Everybody knows. Okay, this has been pointed out to me so much lately. Everybody knows I have a fucking type, and it's beard.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit if you have, an ass chin.
Hey, as long as it's covered up with the beard.
Goofy. Exactly. Cover that shit up with the beard. Beards are like makeup for the face. It's
no. It's the push-up bra for men. Okay. Like, I can't grow a beard. I feel so naked all the time.
Oh God. And I love motorcycle guys. Motorcycle guys, musicians, artists, and
okay,
I was all rolled into the same package. I'm like, panty drop.
I was just talking about this earlier.
I have a type. God damn
it. Yeah, you do. Let me finish what I'm saying. Okay. Typically, the worse a man looks, the funnier he'll be because he feels like he needs to compensate. And we overcompensate. So we will become some funny motherfuckers. That's typically why guys do goofy shit, because we know that we're already not looking good and we're not on fleek. So we need to do something to at least, compensate for that. So we use comedy in order to compensate.
See, I don't know. I think I'm funny as shit. Except my humor is more of a dry humor.
But I appreciate dry humor.
And most people go, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Okay, I told my wife a joke. You guys get ready for a joke. It's horrible. I asked my wife last night. I was like, "Baby, what do you call a woman in a wheelchair?"
What?
Disabled. I think that's fucking hilarious. She gave me the look like, you're fucking retarded. And I'm over here like, that's amazing. What are you talking about?
It's a little funny. I would give it about a 3.
Yeah, but see, it's just like, we compensate, okay? Now, we were talking, you were talking about musicians, motorcycles, something. Okay, men, literally anybody, everybody who's listening, men in particular, you got to make sure to separate yourself from the average guy. Okay. The average guy is just going to be like, oh, well, my feelings will reach her. No. Like, you got to have something else. Like women too. Yes.
Please, for the love of God.
Women too.
Especially women.
Because you don't want to be like, oh my God, we're so random. Like, oh my God, that pisses me off just by me saying it. Like, I hate when women say that.
Give me my yoga pants and a Starbucks. Oh my God.
No, that's so basic. Like, do your best. That actually
sounds really good right now. Oh, can I have Ugg boots too?
What?
Ugg boots.
No, fuck you.
Oh my God.
So,
but you gotta. Boots. Yes.
Yeah, no, fuck you. So, you've got to do your best to separate yourself from the basic bitches and the basic Joes. I took the time out of my day because I was unemployed for about 1.5 years to learn sleight of hand. I'm actually pretty good at it. It works wonders on Black Friday when they have lines set up for places. You just walk past it, snatch something, and put it in the basket. You don't have to wait in line. I've never done that a day in my life. Yes, I have. So, but learn something. Okay, like I'm a musician. Now I'm not trained on or I'm not trained on the guitar or a string instrument.
You
I
can
actually
play
did.
spoons.
I actually no. I've got 12 years of classical music under my belt. I play the clarinet, the trumpet, and I did the bass, clarinet, and the oboe. I attempted the flute a little bit and the saxophone. I'm actually pretty decent on the saxophone too. But I learned instruments, and I am a decent musician. I don't have any musical instruments anymore because I gave them to my high school when I graduated, so that some other kids could who didn't have the money, could use it because I know what it was like growing up without money, you know. But I gave that to the high school so that kids could play if they didn't have an instrument, and that made me feel good about myself. Then now I'm like, God, I wish I had some kind of fucking instrument to annoy my wife with. So that kind of sucks now, but I can always go out and buy one. And I remember enough to at least play some music from memory if I did buy one. But I separated myself from a very early age. I tried my best not to be just an average guy. It was learning different things. Like when I was about 19, I started putting a lot of time into learning, the way society pressures women and men, and understanding the basis of that can give you an understanding of why women do some of the shit that they do. Okay. Like I don't have an innate fear of being raped when I walk outside.
Well, neither do I.
Right.
And that is somebody who's been raped, because I know the majority of people aren't inherently bad.
Right. But there is a fear. And when you look at the studies, there's a lot of women who have been abused mentally or physically or sexually. Like, there's a lot of women who's been abused that way.
And
there's
men.
also a lot of men who's been abused that way.
Where's the fluffy blanket?
It's not in the living room.
Mm-hmm.
So we as a society are failing both genders, not just one, both. But when you speak to a woman and you understand what she's going through, you give her the premise that you do understand some of the shit that she's done. Like society pressures women in ways that it doesn't pressure men.
No, like it also pressures men in the way it doesn't pressure women.
Right, but if you take a look at the way society pressures women, by the age of 18, you got to have a lot of shit figured out.
Oh God.
Okay, you got to figure out how are you going to have a career and find a man. Okay, how are you going to have a family and have a career?
The majority of the women in the South, they're
barefoot and pregnant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so I was raised, you have to find a man, you got to be married by such and such age, and that went into a lot of my own toxicity because I was always after a man.
That did play a lot of toxicity into my wife as well, because she was like, her grandma was very much like, oh, you got to be married, you got to have kids. She wasn't ready. I mean, hell, we still don't have kids, and we're just now talking about trying. Like we're very tentative about it. I know what goes into raising a kid. I've been the oldest cousin. I've been the godfather. I've been the babysitter since I was like 12. Like I get what goes into raising kids, more so than most men. I would wager. Now, I'm not talking about the fathers out there. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, we need to take the time to understand the opposite gender's pressure.
Yeah.
Like understanding men's pressure is way different than understanding women's pressure.
Oh, it is. I mean,
and it's the same. It's like
men are built on the whole toxic masculinity thing. They have to be strong. They can never be weak. They have to be, hold everything together. They have to be the foundation.
Right.
Everything rides on their shoulders. They have to provide for them. They have to find a family, because if they don't pass on their genetic seed, they're inferior men.
Yeah. I mean, that's quite a few of them, right?
Yeah.
In time, but not nearly all of them.
Yeah, no, God, not even all of them. That's just some major ones, that, and they're dealing with, sexual oppression as well. Well, not so much oppression. Women are heavily sexually oppressed.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Men they're given the free cards, say go out, sow your wild oats, and then come home and then do your family.
Before anybody comments, I understand some men are out there going, yeah, but it's easy to be a hoe, hard to be a stud, and that makes it okay. Really, it doesn't, though. I mean, if you're going to laud sexualism on one side and not on the other, that's very biased.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take a step back, hold your own self to the same standards you have for another person, then it'll make you better. It really does. It's about drawing that line in the sand to separate yourself from what people think is right and what you think is right. Mm-hmm. Don't think like other people. You got to think for yourself. Like, I say a lot of shit. We say a lot of shit. If you don't believe us, fine. Just come to your own beliefs. I'm more okay with someone understanding the world their own way than I am with somebody just agreeing just to agree. If you want to argue with me, hell, like, let's do it. Let's debate about it, because I want you to hear what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And I want to hear what you're saying. Also understand that the way you see the world is based on your perception. And if you go through life with someone else's shit put on you, like, let's talk about how we were just talking about how women are pressured sexually. Okay. That's someone else putting their own stipulations on them, and they go through life with that and they don't feel complete.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, it's really hard for me to feel complete even now. And I don't feel complete. Like, I try with society pressures and everything like that. I know I'm a fairly intelligent woman. I'm not going to say I'm the most intelligent woman, because I'm not a narcissist when it comes to that.
But, I'm the smartest man ever.
I'm of decent, above average intelligence. I think I might have my shit together. I don't know. All of my bills are paid.
No, you have your shit together on the basis that you are an adult and you do that well.
I don't adult well.
No, you do.
I'm constantly
you do adult
on the
well.
verge of a mental breakdown, especially as of lately.
Sounds like adult to me.
That's just adulting. That's not adulting well.
No, see, if you're constantly under pressure and you're constantly like, oh my God, I'm going to fail.
But the pressures, that I face, being a mother and a woman,
right.
I go against all of those. So, and I always hear a lot of backlash about my own personal choices.
Okay, first of all, you are a fantastic mother. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's anybody who says that you're a bad mother, they need to shut the fuck up. Okay.
Well, thank you.
No, let me just put this out there.
It's not just about, being a mom.
No, it's not.
It's about being a woman in general, because my sexual choices are called into question almost daily. Hell, I'm very open about being polyamorous.
Yes.
And educate many people. I'm very open about my BDSM and educate many people on that and walk through a lot of people through that, and, how they can achieve. Now, it's not for everyone, but mm-hmm. even those questions get called into work that I do on my personal time. It's like, Carla will send me a random text message and be like, have you heard this?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's shit I do on my personal life.
Right.
It doesn't have any merit on my professional.
Okay. So what we need to know, or what we need to understand, is that as people,
especially as a woman,
I think just especially as a person,
oh God.
I
just
mean,
the society pressures.
It is societal pressures.
And they cause for that mental breakdown, because it's all negativity from around everywhere, and then not feeling fulfilled. Like,
hello, into the fire. How are you doing?
That whole not being fulfilled thing. That's why I'm always striving to do more. That's why I picked up guitar recently.
Right.
It's why I literally make my fingers bleed daily trying to learn it. And
Mr. T, how you doing?
Hello, guys.
And we're doing good too.
And it's still not good enough, because I'm still not the perfect girlfriend, the perfect wife, the perfect 1950s.
That's what we're doing. We're trying to unfuck ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, she's trying to unfuck herself. I'm actually fairly healthy. Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that you're still putting yourself to a standard that's based on other people's desires and not your own.
Well, I'm trying my hardest to feel fulfilled.
Right, but another person isn't going to do that for you.
No, I'm not saying another person is going to do that.
If you're going to be fulfilled, then you need to fulfill yourself.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. That's what I'm trying to do with all of my personal things.
We've talked about goals being set by other people and putting them on you and expecting those goals to be met. When they're not your goals, it's not your fulfillment.
Well, it's still a certain standard that adults have to live up to, or else they face a major load of backlash.
Well, okay, this is why I think a lot of people have like a midlife crisis. To be honest with you,
I'm probably in the middle of a midlife crisis at the moment.
I don't think you're there yet.
I feel like I'm there. Like I was talking this morning about rewrapping my car in vinyl and just spending 3 days in isolation just to be able to focus on something to get my.
Why do you think I took a 3-day weekend? Like it's all okay. We covered this this weekend. All right. I feel like you need to hear this. You need a long weekend. Okay.
I've had 2 long weekends. It's not enough. That's the thing. It's absolutely not enough.
You know what? A lot of people feel the same. Honestly, I'm very fulfilled. I'm fulfilled in my marriage. I'm fulfilled that I do achieve most of the goals that I set for myself, not because they're easy, but because I maintain a reasonable level of well, I mean, most of my goals are not easy.
What are the comments coming in? I can't see from here.
I feel like life has just been 26 years of midlife crisis.
I agree. I agree.
Expectations need to be attainable. Love this show, and you set your own expectations. And yes, and I set my own expectations of myself. My goals are obtainable, but they're also attainable in a way that leads me to larger goals. Any large goal that you're set for yourself isn't going to be as fulfilling as a small goal, because small goals happen more often, which is why people don't feel as good as they should when they graduate college. They spend years and years and years trying to get this piece of paper that says, hey, shit. And they're like, all right. And the party's over the next day and you feel left. You're empty. You don't have anything except for this piece of paper. And it's because you didn't set small goals for yourself up to the big goal. Those small goals happen every day. You move forward. And when people say baby steps, they really do mean baby steps, okay? But those baby steps are small goals. Like my goal today was to wake up, not be in a bad mood, and do the dishes.
I did them for you.
You came into my house and fucking cleaned. And,
like before you were even out of bed.
But at the same time, my goal has been completed, all right? Like I can move past it and set my next goal. And with that next goal, it's just, show up to work, have a good work day, come home, love my wife, basic stuff that I can set up every single day. I will meet my goals. I feel fulfilled. Sorry, a little bit of dyslexia in words.
I leave my water in the kitchen.
I do believe you did. Be very careful walking past the mic. It's holding on by a thread.
I'll try. I get a big ass though.
So we need to set our goals in a way that we are able to achieve them. But those baby steps give us the mentality that we can reach out and grab those bigger goals. Okay. And it starts off with this tiny goal, like just waking up and being in a good mood. And then your medium-sized goal, start learning ASL, which is something that I've been meaning to do for a moment now.
I could help teach you a little bit on that.
That's something that I do want to learn ASL, because it's not just a language. It's a language that is very useful, and not a lot of people use ASL who speak and can hear. So it's, a good way to
look at your wife, look her up and down, and then do this sign here.
Yeah, I think I got that one. Things I did do just to fuck around. I wanted to learn a little bit of Latin. So I learned that carpe diem means seize the ass. And so I came in to the house after work. This is last week. And I said, baby, I'm on a carpe diem. And she goes, it's carpe diem. I'm like, no, it's carpe diem. And she's like, no, it's carpe diem. I'm like, oh, definitely it's carpe diem. And she goes, no, it's carpe diem. I said, no, it's carpe natum. And that means seize the ass. Now come over here.
You guys are adorable.
Yeah, but it's shit like that. I now know what carpe natum means. It's small things. Okay. If you want to learn something, go for it. There's actually a lot of damn straight smack. So there's a lot of things that you can learn, that college courses that are free from Harvard and MIT.
Yes.
And you can
actually, back in the day, I took a crap ton of those. I took a lot of their physics stuff and like that. And then I was really good. Like, I really enjoyed all of that.
Yeah.
But now it's just trying to like find the time and the mental capacity to actually not be overwhelmed enough to focus on something.
Yes.
Like, I was reading my music theory book last night because I bought a couple of books from Books A Million the last time I went. And I bought the Guitar for Dummies.
Yeah.
And then the whole music theory. And I'm like sitting there, it's like 10:30 at night, reading the music theory book, and I'm just, my eyes are crossing, and I'm just like, what the fuck am I reading? I can't even concentrate. And then I have those days.
Now, I had the same when you sent me that that thing about your cat, the whatever it was. I started reading it, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this says. I just closed out of it, and I just zoned the fuck out because my mind was not in the mood for me to put shit in it. It was full. Like, I had too much shit on my mind.
That seems to be a lot of my issues lately. Like, I'm trying to do so much. I'm trying to live. I'm trying to live up to my full capacity.
Right. Just because you're trying to live up to your full capacity doesn't mean you can just shove shit in your mind and expect for you to take it all.
No.
You need to take it one step at a time and learn one thing at a time. Okay, when you're going through, high school, just like 1 hour of each subject, and it's set up in a way that is kind of works. I'm not going to say it works. It kind of works for some kids. But the whole point is to see how much they can force into your mind. And at the end of the day, they'll still expect you to go home and do homework and shit when you really shouldn't.
And see, that's how my mind still works, though. It's like, because I excelled in that environment when I was a child.
Right.
And that's where my son gets it too. Like, when I was, a teenager in school, it was pure honor roll for me, including graduating early with scholarships and stuff like that. So that was my thing. Even with all of the emotional turmoil and everything that I went through, I still excelled at that. So I still expect that form of level out of me.
No, it's okay. The difference is,
and it's really suffering because while I'm going through different turmoil and different traumas daily, it's still it's different, but it's not as traumatic, if that means
the difference
anything.
Is.
So I should still be able to even accomplish more, if that means something. And I feel like I'm letting myself down a little bit.
No, you're not letting yourself
because
down.
I'm not performing at the same level that I once was.
You set your expectation too high, and you're trying to cram too much shit into your head at the same time. Dial it back. It's like when you look at people who are about to become hoarders, they typically start off with like, oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this, and I've got all these different projects set up, and none of them get done because they put too much shit on their plate and they feel overwhelmed, so they just don't do anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, so that's what my husband did. It's so funny. I was thinking about this the other day. I went and bought me a guitar and something to learn and practice on, during the whole quarantine thing. My husband goes out, and the next thing we know, we have 5 guitars in our house. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's literally every guitar player I know. Every single one of them. They literally like, oh, I'm going to play the guitar. So it's the same riff. That's why, okay, when you go into a guitar store, if you play, I can't think of the fucking name of the riff. Yeah, Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah.
You play the Stairway to Heaven riff, let me tell you, they will shut your shit down as fast as they can because they hear it all day long. It never stops. There's always some motherfucker playing Stairway to Heaven in the store. Amazing song, but everybody plays Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah.
Stop it. Okay, play something else. If you played Mary Had a Little Lamb, they'd be like, all right, this guy's, trying. He's starting. All right, I'm gonna help him out. We'll do something. Play Stairway to Heaven.
See, that's the thing. I didn't.
Smoke on the Water's another one. Yeah.
Oh God, I actually made a snap video of that and posted it to some of my followers the other day about the Smoke on the Water. I was like, it was just doing like a indie funny video for guitar. So it was like every basic bitch girl says they can play guitar. And I was playing. That was the text above it, playing Smoke on the Water as poorly as I could. Now, see, I didn't jump into playing the basic shit like that. I jumped in. My very first song that I was practicing was actually a Coheed and Cambria song.
I love Coheed and Cambria. If you guys have never listened to Coheed and Cambria, I highly recommend that you do.
Yeah.
And the song does slap. See, the difference is, playing those riffs and stuff as a musician, if you are good, you can't tell if you're good by playing those riffs because everybody knows it. And that's like one of the first things you learn. If you played something, a scale, play a music scale.
Nah.
Okay. Play a music scale. All right. Their music scales are fantastic for hearing the sound of the guitar. Also, it helps you out as a musician, just knowing the scales.
I don't know. I just mentioned the Coheed because that's what level of proficiency that I expect out of myself in everything new that I accomplish. What is that comment?
You want to know something about guitar playing? You learn 12-bar blues and the classic stuff to never play it again.
Okay,
yes.
actually, so I am in the process of learning 12-bar blues. And that is some of the most difficult shit ever.
Yes.
My fingers do not want to cooperate at
No.
all. And I'm just like,
No.
Fuck you. I almost threw my guitar the other day.
One of the hardest things I learned as a classic musician was swing time. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, all right, you know what? You fucking done. Like swing. That was what it was like for swing. For me.
See, I need to learn the 12-bar blues and other blues and stuff like that, but I can't just. Other players make it look so fucking simple.
That's because they practiced.
And I'm just
practice.
I cannot even do the thing. I can't even think what it is right now. The finger to make it
fingering.
No, it's a certain technique when you make the. I don't know.
You step it down.
I know what I'm talking about, but I can't. The words aren't coming to my mind because I'm still freaking tired. But anyways, like because I want to put together like a ska meets Zydeco meets blues band, and have that funky feel straight from like New Orleans kind of thing.
Nolans?
Yeah.
Nolans?
You can tell where I'm from.
Nolans. Anyway, so we've gotten off topic talking about music. Well, no, not really, because it really comes back to the point, separate yourself from the basic bitches and the basic Joes and get yourself to something, like grasp for something, teach yourself something. Okay, if you can, and that's what separates a lot of people, especially like men. When you're dating, women look for stuff like that. Like, what has he done? What has he learned? What has he taught himself? What lets me know that he's got some kind of drive, some kind of pushing force behind him? And it's just simple stuff like that. Learning how to do something on your own not only tells you and teaches you what you can do by yourself, but it also gives others a way to see what kind of potential you see in yourself. Okay. And that's huge, especially when you're dating. All right. Hello, Sinister. How are you doing? But no, separate yourself. That also ties into self-value, because if you're going to teach yourself something, you're going to value yourself more because you've accomplished your goal. Okay. And that's really the whole basis for those two, is teach yourself something. And, for those of you who have neurotic tendencies like myself, hey, none of that shit, put it down. So for those of you who have neurotic tendencies like myself, I mean, I do some pretty weird shit, but
oh God, mine too. Fucking hell. That's all I have. I am all neurotic all the time.
No, you're not.
All overthinking.
No.
Okay,
all right.
Overthinking in an off tone, and I have 15 different scenarios in my head about what is going on. Like that
Okay.
is my level of being neurotic.
Actually, we just posted when we first started the page, there was a quote by, I can't remember who it was, but if someone who overthinks tells you that they love you, believe them because they've thought of every reason why they shouldn't.
Yes.
And that is some of the truest shit I've ever read.
See, okay, so I say that shit, I'll tell a person that I care for them, and then I like almost immediately take it back. Not exactly take it back. Like I still care for them. I still show that. But it's like if I feel that they didn't reciprocate how I had hoped for in my head, then it's just like, okay, well,
I understand.
I'm
now.
fucked up
my
now.
God.
What the fuck?
You guys ever like have something just click? All right, the reason why you have some difficulties, ma'am, is because you're dating your fantasy, and fantasies always let you down with reality.
This is truth. This is truth. Like, that is a hard life lesson, and I actually do realize that I do that. And it's not necessarily dating a fantasy; it's dating to support my own expectations of the way life should be.
Well, we all have expectations of why or how life should be in every sense. Everybody's like, "Oh, well, I should be able to do this," and yeah, you should, but you can't because reality's a bitch. So. It's moving past that and finding another way to your goal. Okay, like hell, there's so many things. Like something off the top of my head. Buying a house. Everyone should be able to buy a house. I truly believe everyone should buy a house or be able to buy a house.
That is a goal that I'm currently working for.
Me too.
I have the only thing that's standing in between me and buying a house right now is 100 points of perfection and $2,000. That's
right.
it.
And you're so close.
I know.
Me and my wife, we've got the land. We're about $6,000 off our mark for a down payment to build the house. And that's really all we need, But it really boils down to everyone should be able to buy a house. There's more houses in the United States than there are people. Okay? Like I really want you guys to homeless people agree that well, okay. All right, let me just say something real quick. The majority of homeless people are people who have, some kind of mental problem. And I'm not talking about, retardation or anxiety. I mean, it can be retardation and anxiety. Those are some reasons for people to be homeless, but there's a majority of them who have PTSD. There's a lot of homeless people who not just down on their luck, but were unable to handle some sort of problem that came about in their life. And there was a lack of support for them during the whole process. And now they are just continuing to suffer.
I can agree with that because I was homeless for a good bit.
Yeah. And their safety net wasn't there.
Yeah. No, okay. I essentially had to build my own safety net. Yeah. Especially directly after high school. That was hard, especially leaving home at 16. Like that was a long time homeless, couch surfing, trying to get my shit together while still working full time and battling with my own toxic tendencies.
Like 85% of homelessness is solely men. Okay. That's a statistic. I think I'm very conservative on that number.
That's because a lot of shelters and everything allow the women, but not the men.
Right. Now, this is why a lot of men are in jail. They'd rather be in jail than cold. And then now they got a record. And now their situation's worse. Really, the issue is that the safety net does not exist for a lot of people. And the only safety net that you're going to be able to 100% like trust is the one that you build yourself, which is something I spent the majority of my younger days doing. I've got friends. If I fell, I know they'd catch me. Okay. And I've done the same for them. I know they would do the same for me because they have. Build your own safety net. That's the only way you're going to be able to know that if you fall, you've at least got somewhere to sleep. Okay. And a way to get back on your feet. Build your own safety net. Like I've got real friends and they don't come across very often. But when you find real motherfuckers, do your best to be able to call them your friend and then make them family. Okay. And I really do
There's
mean
just
that.
so few of those anymore.
There are very few of them. That's why I'm saying when you find real motherfuckers, make them family. Okay. Like 100%. I'm not trying to fuck with people. I'm not trying to give you bad advice. This is the best advice I think I've given anybody on this podcast is make your own safety net. Find real people, people who know that the world is shit. Treat them with respect. Help them out and let them help you out. When you find that person, don't let them go. All right? Very simple. Hard to do, but very simple. That's actually, you know what? And I am very charismatic, and I think that's what helps me out a lot because I can do that, call to arms action, so to speak. I wouldn't say by any means necessary, but I will say that by any means necessary makes it a lot more fun.
You got to address the person on the comments so they know that you're
Yes,
actually talking to a commenter.
I am talking to a commenter, and me myself, I'm 30 this year.
I'm
Here in just
old as fuck. I'm 34.
It's May. Just a couple of months. I'll be 30. I may not sound like it on the mic. I'm not sure. I haven't really paid attention to how old I sound. I know when I was like 18, I sounded like I was 12.
Nah.
Yeah. All right. There we go. But no, okay, let me give you an example of what I mean by find people who are going to be your safety net.
I think
Me too. I was speaking to a Andromeda dude. He says, "Don't take me too seriously." By the way, I speak mostly bullshit until I don't. I do the same thing.
Everybody speaks bullshit until they don't. Like, that's truth.
Yeah. And also,
I know.
I'll just say Pendra. Hi, how are you doing?
Going back, kind of railing it in.
Yes.
On the overthinker things.
Overthinking.
It's really hard for an overthinker, especially to find those real people.
Right. Okay. When you overthink. Let me just be real here. Because that's something I love to do, though. I love to sit there and like think of shit that would never happen to me a day in my life. Like, what would happen if I burned down a bank? Could I run from the cops? And like, I'll sit there and I'll just think about that for hours. And that's my overthinking because I enjoy that. It's a way for me to let my brain rest, just some bullshit. But when you're overthinking, your type of overthinking is like, I said hi and they said hi, but they said hi and they kind of gave me like a weird smile. So what does that mean? Does that mean that they like me? Does that mean we're just friends? Does that mean that she secretly hates me? Like, you are not only jumping to conclusions, okay? You got a fucking jetpack and you are just flying into outer space with those shit, okay? You need to dial it back.
Easier said than done. That's...
Ask her if she had a fucking stroke. That's why she gave you a weird smile. Like,
no, that's really what has fueled a lot of my setting up boundaries and stuff like that lately with different people in my life. Having the feeling that things aren't reciprocated the way that I need them to be. The way for... And it's not so much for a complacency aspect, it's more for a comfort aspect. I'm not feeling ultimately comfortable in a situation, so I'm needing to make space here.
Okay. The way I see people who overthink, the way I interpret that is they're unwilling to release a level of control over situations.
See, my level, I realize that I have no level of control over situations, but I have a level of control of the way I'm going to allow myself to be, how much I'm willing to tolerate for my own treatment.
I understand that. In the beginning scenario, see, this is something that I've done for my life, and I hope you guys can do this for yours. When all things are equal, Go with what you hope to be true rather than what you fear to be true.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not saying walk into it blindly. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is, if you don't know how they are or what they think of you, go with what you hope to be true. Okay. Treat them that way rather than treat them with fear.
Yeah. Never treat anybody with fear, because that's possibly the worst punishment you can do for yourself, is treating people or living in fear. What is that comment? Here, hand me that, babe.
It is Andrew. Nothing should be as serious.
No.
Live life every day. Don't try to do nice things. Be a nice person. Some bullshit like that. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
Some bullshit like that. So
some of our listeners, I've been posed with a couple of comments on stuff and like questions and stuff like that. How would you suggest that even you deal with these self-proclaimed like nice girls?
How do you deal with them?
Yeah, like, okay, not only that, but like, okay, let me explain more. Like, a friend of mine posted a question yesterday. Actually, like, I'm having a hard time in dating, and he said the reason why I'm having a hard time with dating is because I feel like they're entitled over my time.
Okay.
And while I choose not to share with their time, you know, I do on occasion reach out for that, but I feel like they're not, or he feels like they're not
giving him the same level of consideration.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just trying to go by memory. I don't have it pulled up in front of me. I'm just kind of giving the gist and all that. And he says he's met with a lot of negativity when he won't bow to their will, and they go from being nice to all of a sudden being very toxic.
Right. So nice girl syndrome.
Yeah.
Okay. And the same thing with nice guy syndrome. Nice guy syndrome, that's a little bit more creepy. Okay. When it comes to dating, and this is the advice that I give absolutely everyone, and I truly do believe in this. It's how I met my wife. Volunteer. Okay. And I truly do mean that. If you're having an issue running into nice guys, nice girls, assholes, bitches, like if you are having issues with that, volunteer. You're not going to find someone who's going to be your soulmate in a bar. That's something my mom that always told me, like, the bar is not the place to meet a soulmate. It's the place to meet a one night stand, quick fuck, leave situation. Okay. When you volunteer, you are giving your time away for free. And when you meet someone who also volunteers, and it's not going to happen right away, but it does happen a lot faster, and you have a better pick, more or less, because the people who are also going to volunteer are going to be giving their time away for free. Okay? Which means that they value what they're doing over the money or the compensation that they would get. By volunteering, you do the same thing. Not only do you help out your community, but you meet people who care about something enough to do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
I highly suggest that you do that. I volunteered at the Humane Society, and that's how I did meet my wife.
But how do you deal with that from like a one-on-one level?
On a one-on-one level, when I'm dealing, okay, let me tell you how I dealt with it. There was a girl who it was like first date. It was literally a first date. I drove to her house to pick her up, and I knocked on the door, and she was mad because I was there on time. Some shit like that. I don't know. But she flipped it on me. It's where it was my fault and now I was going to have to wait. So I just said, all right, fuck you. Got in my car and left and never talked to her again. Like, I don't allow that kind of shit in my life. That's how I deal with it. You know, it's the same with like the spam. Okay. And I don't remember what the guy's name was.
Last podcast.
Yeah, last podcast.
Multiple names.
Yeah, there was a lot of spam in the last podcast. So, and that's fine. You know, if that's what you want to do, I don't care. I've got the time out of my day to make sure that I can block you every time because that's, I'm going to take the time out of my day to make sure that that's not going to affect me in the long run. And I shut it down at the beginning. Okay. I look for red flags and then I shut it down. Now, politely at first, but if it continues, that's when I'm like, all right, no. And I shut it down completely. I'll block you on everything. I don't care. I have that amount of time, and you need to take the amount of time too to block those kind of people and move on. Okay. And it's honestly about just having the self-awareness to know that if you take the time out of your day, that 5 seconds it takes to block them, it's going to help you out in the long run and your mental health will be a lot better. Okay. That's really what it boils down to, is stopping that
Now, okay, so
effectually.
here's the thing that I deal with often. What would you recommend for things like setting boundaries up, but having those needs met by another person? That, oh, what did you click?
I don't know what I clicked.
All right. Anyways, going about obtaining those needs from other people and setting those boundaries up in a healthy way to obtain said needs.
Okay. My wife had her need, and I'm going to use her as an example because that's the best. I think that's the best scenario. She needed to feel loved before she felt sexually or comfortable with me sexually. She needed me to show that I was going to be there forever. Okay. And that was a lot of dedication on my part. That was what she needed. Now, fortunately, I know enough and I understand enough to know what she wanted without enough communication. But if you have a need, it's about communication and the other person being able to understand it.
See,
okay.
That is what I thought. But in communicating those needs over several months or several years, as I have, in the past, it seems, even though I use nonviolent communication and I state my case and I state my needs very clearly and I tell them exactly what I'm needing when I'm needing it, even in my marriage and stuff like that, it doesn't seem that my needs are being met, and in other aspects of my personal life, there's literally no attempt to meet said needs.
Okay. I know you are effectively communicating. Yeah. I know you are. How about the other people in your life, though? Are they able to effectively communicate?
I feel like I've been put into a teacher role as of lately, and I'm teaching them how to communicate.
So you're expecting the same level of communication that you're giving.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I understand that. However, you can't expect a 2-year-old to do math the first day you teach it math. Okay. You need to let them learn and grow and use it themselves. So I think the issue is that you're expecting too much too soon.
Maybe.
And you need to let them grow into what you're expecting of them before you can reasonably say, okay, my needs aren't being met. I think you're just expecting it a little too soon. I think that they do need to work on their communication, absolutely, but also listening. That's a side of communication we haven't covered enough. Just because you communicate effectively doesn't mean the other people listen effectively. They don't understand effectively. Okay. That's the most important side of effective communication. If you effectively communicate and tell someone your needs, they don't listen to you or they don't understand you, you're not going to be communicating.
See, I deal with that a lot. A lot of people don't understand where I'm coming from or do the things that I do, or the reasons why I do the things that I do.
Right. Ultimately, it's those two. If they don't understand it or they're not paying attention, they're not listening, which is okay. Your son, the youngest,
the savant.
Yeah, the savant.
He's a neurotic asshole.
When I was trying to get him to sit down, I was doing it for a reason. Okay. He didn't want to sit down. I wanted him to sit down because I know 11-year-olds don't pay attention when they're able to just stand up and walk away or do whatever they want. If you sit down and you're sitting down as well, you're able to stop.
I know. Okay, so I can explain a little to you why he did that. Oh, phone's ringing.
Sorry,
Hold on.
guys. I don't know you.
All right. So explaining a little bit of why he did that. It's because with his mental capacity, he is extremely high functioning Asperger's. But we have to teach him, that he is in control of his body and in control.
Yes.
And when somebody suggests that he does something, he used to whine and get emotionally hurt, and now he's just it comes off like a defiance, and it makes me proud at the same time.
I know,
because he's actually finally using his own voice and speaking for himself and doing everything.
I'm not
for
saying
himself.
That's wrong,
and that's why he's like, no, I'm not going to sit there. I
right?
Don't want to.
I understand why
he doesn't want it. He's not going to do it. And using the whole nonviolent communication techniques and stuff like that makes me so fucking happy as a parent, because he's going to live for himself, and I know that he is going to live for himself and not allow anyone else to push him around.
I can respect that. I really can. I also know that 5 minutes into having, actually not even 5 minutes, is like 2 minutes into having the conversation between him and his brother, he was off in La La Land playing with some shit on the counter.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the whole point of having him sit down, because it effectively puts him right in front of me and I'm able to communicate better.
See, that's why I do the whole finger thing. I get his attention. I'm like, hey, look at me. I take my 2 fingers and I point them out, and I'm like, look at me. And I point him to my eyes, and then he focuses. And sometimes you've got to do that. But sometimes you have to learn to communicate with him a little bit.
Nadia River says she ran a center for intellectually challenged adults for 5 years. Greatest experience of her life. And people with IDD are 4 times more likely to suffer mental health issues. Yes. Absolutely. And I actually worked with kids who were mentally challenged, abused for a moment. It was definitely a moment. I don't want to give out any more information than that, because I don't know if I'm still under HIPAA laws. I'm sure I am. So I'll just say that I did work with kids. There was a lot of stuff that I learned and took away from that. And like, I've always been good about reading body language, which was another thing. Like, immediately, as soon as I asked him to sit down, he put something between me and him, which was the countertop. And he got behind the countertop and he leaned down, giving me the least amount of visual representation he could, which tells me that he wasn't
hear your shit.
Right. He didn't want to hear my shit. Okay. And it's not that my shit is wrong. I was going to work with him on some stuff. I do know what I'm talking about when it comes to this kind of shit. And I know he didn't want to hear it. I know that because I've seen the body language, and that's why I was trying to get him to just sit down. That's the first step. As soon as you're willing to communicate, willingness to communicate is another thing. And he was not willing to communicate. But when he puts himself in a situation where he's open, you can communicate better. Now, when you're going through therapy and stuff, and you're the one talking, when you hold a pillow.
Hold on, what does that comment say?
As long as no names are mentioned, however, if we use data to help or teach, we are clear. Okay. Yeah. It's one of those things. HIPAA laws are changing right now. We actually just had to go through a decent amount of training on HIPAA. Okay. And there are some differences now than there were
a year
ago. God. So I'm just doing my best to make sure that I'm maintaining proper, and the best way to do that is just not talk about it. I will talk about what I learned, though, rather than the people. Okay, when you're going through therapy and you're the one talking to the therapist, if you put a pillow in front of you and you hold it, it makes you feel protected. You're more willing to share.
Yeah.
But when you're the one being talked to, communicated with, you need to be open. It is body language that shows us what their mental state is. And your son had shut me out completely.
Yeah.
Until I started talking to Zach and ignored him. and then he wanted to be a part of the conversation because I'm a manipulative bastard.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I know how to manipulate children and people very well, and that's basically therapy. Therapy
Yeah.
is communication and manipulation.
You know, and the one thing that I hate about all of this COVID issues for high functioning Asperger's with savant,
being trapped in the same place is
yes,
very difficult.
so we've lost a lot of routine, and
Yep.
that routine, he's also lost a lot of his socializing.
Yeah, oh, I've noticed. Fucking noticed.
Yeah, so now that he's been out of school since February, you know, since everything has been closed down and now summer vacation, so he's going to be out for 6 fucking months. You know, that for somebody with savant and stuff like that, you really have to keep them on a routine, and you have to keep that socialization up to par.
Did I tell you that I actually had them do
they shut down
a little bit of work? I don't think I did. Okay, so when I was watching your kids, I had them. There's a sentence. It's the quick brown fox or the quick fox jumped over the brown dog or something like that. But it uses every letter of the alphabet. Okay, it's something like that. Don't quote me on it. Anyway, I wrote that down on a piece of paper, and I actually had them practice their penmanship because I saw your son's penmanship.
Yeah.
And it looks like a dog got ran over, and then they asked it to do fucking calculus. Okay, it's horrible.
I know.
Like,
I know, but he's amazing at other things.
Right. But that was one of the things that we worked on while you were gone.
Okay. It's always been. It's like my handwriting too. Like my handwriting.
You do have.
It looks like chicken scratch. I look like I have a 90-year-old man with Parkinson's handwriting. You know, most people's handwriting, it's nice and big and bubbly and all that. No, I'm like. No, my handwriting is tiny and shaky, and there's no form to it.
Okay, but you have issues with your wrist though. Like there's
no, it's my hand dexterity.
Your hand dexterity is bad. I can't remember why, but anyway, there's a reason for that. Your son is intelligent, and there's a lot of bases like, oh well, if your handwriting is bad, that means you're smarter. No. What that means is you're lazy. If you're smart enough to have bad handwriting, you're smart enough to have nice handwriting.
That doesn't necessarily mean anything, because I spent years trying to work on my handwriting, and let me tell you, it doesn't get any better if you have really poor dexterity.
Right. Yours is dexterity.
Yeah.
I'll have to find some shit that I wrote years ago.
And literally, my hands start shaking. I literally just put my middle finger and my thumb together, and my whole hand started shaking. Yeah. Like that's a thing.
Well, that's an issue with your tendons. Like my hands have always been very steady. I used to like try to get it out as fast as I could, and my handwriting was shit. And that was until I had a really good friend of mine was like, you know what? That means you're really smart. And I said, yeah, that's what people say. And he goes, you know what that also means? You're smart enough to take the time out of your day to make your handwriting look good. And I was like, fuck, okay. You're an asshole, but all right. So now I've got beautiful handwriting now because I took the time out of my day to make the letters look the way I wanted them to look. And actually, Floy's seen my handwriting. She commented on it a while back.
It's way better than mine.
And I have very flowing script.
You can see, I've noticed that like men's handwriting is typically better than women's. Like so I noticed one thing, like T's handwriting. I found a note that he had written, and he stuffed it in my pillowcase this morning. And because I just pulled my pillow out from the closet this morning, and it literally just said, "I rubbed my butt on your pillow," with a heart on it. And I was just like, okay, but look at this handwriting. That is like 10 times better than my own handwriting. But it's very feminine. It's very bubbly and flowy.
Yes. I don't know if mine's feminine or not.
Your handwriting is very feminine.
Probably. I mean, well,
and I've noticed that with the majority of men, they excel at calligraphy and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
They have very bubbly, flowing handwriting.
Yeah. Oh, I love calligraphy. I just bought a new pen set. It's a brush pen. Yeah, I'm so excited to use this.
See, and that's the one thing. That's the thing that I don't understand. Like, I am okay at art. Like, I've done some decent paintings and stuff in my life, and I can do that flawlessly, you know, with what style I'm trying to do. I can do my comic book style flawlessly. Like I did one
Oh my!
that is remnants of Sin City and stuff like
Mhm.
that. You know, kind of one of my comic books, and it came out really well. But the moment that I write letters onto the page, it's like fuck all.
Okay, so
Like I have an A over here and like a Z over here, and it's like,
Okay.
what the fuck is that? I can't even understand that.
it's okay. So if you
There's
want
like total block.
if you want to improve your handwriting, okay, on
There-
your painting, there's a way to do this. It's the same way that you would use to forge handwriting. I'm not saying that you should do this, but if you want to forge someone's handwriting, if you want to make your handwriting better, write it upside down and backwards.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay. And when you flip the painting back over, it'll be the right way, but it'll be much more flowing because you're no longer writing a letter, you're drawing the letter upside down and backwards. And that'll give you a basis for your letters. And it's a lot easier to draw your F's and your name and all that shit than it is to write it. Okay. So if you do want to forge somebody's handwriting, you take that, you flip it upside down, you literally turn the paper where it's upside down, and you look at it and write it backwards. Okay. And just trace it. Your hand will follow the lines instead of trying to make the letter, because we make the letter so many times, our hand's just like, why? And you're like, that does not look the same. But when you turn it upside down, it's no longer a letter, it's a line.
All right. I'll try that. I'll attempt to. I wonder if that works with relationships as well.
I think so.
Just write it, flip it upside down, write it backwards. Give me that booty.
No. I mean, okay, as good as the joke is, I think that it does work because you give yourself a different perspective. Okay. And I'm not talking about sexually. I'm talking about, look at it from another point of view. It's like trying to distance yourself from a situation if you're too close to it, and looking at it from above or to the side or beneath. Like when you're able to distance yourself and view the whole thing, it gives you more information. Okay.
And I think that's what I'm going to start doing, like in pretty much all aspects of my life, especially with the male.
For an overthinker,
yeah,
that's probably not a great idea. But I mean, go for it. I'd love to see if it works for you. I know it works for me, but I'm more pragmatic in my approach.
Well, so I'm fairly pragmatic too, but I also come from a very primal state.
Yes, you do.
That's the difference.
I don't want you to hurt yourself in that situation. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying try it.
Oh, no. I've pretty much came in like the Kool-Aid man and ruined any situation that could possibly be. So there is going to be like new situations, and I know there will be new situations.
Right.
And then there's still my marriage and everything like that, and, new friendships, and there's always stuff to be made. But basically trying to train myself how not to be like the Kool-Aid man.
I've got a very good friend of mine who we call it grenades. Okay. Because he's good at throwing grenades.
Fucking hell, yeah.
Okay, you know who I'm talking about. All right. And he's so good at it that I'm scared of the fallout. And he will drop nukes. He doesn't give a shit.
Is this Neanderthal?
Yes. God, I love this man. So there was, we were working with a guy, and we got to, I don't know how it came about, but he's like, oh yeah, well, your mom's probably fucking ugly or some shit like that. And he just turned around, looked him dead in the eye, and goes, my mother's dead. And wow, the level of guilt that he's willing to place on people. He doesn't give a shit. I remember walking into Walmart, okay, and there was a lady outside panhandling because they had blown a tire or some shit. And she's like, I need money for the tire to get back home. And he's like, get a fucking job. And he just walked in. And I'm like, holy shit. Now, granted, not the best mindset, but if we're going to take anything from that mindset, it's that he does not allow toxic shit into his life. He
himself is inherently toxic.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. His wife has definitely toned him down, though. He's now in a legal dispute with his neighbor, And instead of like doing anything illegal,
no coyote piss.
I'm trying to make it sound illegal. Okay. Just hold off. Actually, no, he did have to call the cops because the guy kept honking. So the issue is my buddy's neighbor will sit outside, lay on the horn for a good 5-10 minutes, and then go inside, right? This all started because he tried to talk to the guy about some other bullshit, and now he's doing this. So the cops came out. My buddy showed him a couple of videos about what's going on. They're like, oh, okay, all right. So they go and they talk to the guy, and he goes, oh, I'm just serenading my husband.
Uh-huh.
That's how we tell each other that we love each other. And this all started because the guy refused to fucking talk. Okay. I think it was like grass clippings got on his car or some shit.
Uh-huh.
So, like, that was the overall issue,
do you
but he
know
didn't
what
communicate
I'm taking away from this? People are doing all of this passive aggressive bullshit because they're not getting their primal out.
Like,
it is so that's why in primal it's so important to get that primal out, because you stop becoming passive aggressive at that point.
My friend found out where this guy worked.
Uh-huh.
Works. He knows where he works. He knows who his boss is. He has his boss's number. He hasn't called him yet. I'm so proud of him because that's not something he would do. He would never just get his boss's number and then just sit on it. No, he would get his boss's number and then he would use it. Okay. Like he's straight up. One second, I'm adjust the mic. Okay. He is straight up a primal motherfucker. He doesn't give a shit. He will destroy you and everything you think is real and go about his fucking day.
That's not primal though.
Oh no, I'm talking about primal rage.
That's more that passive aggressive shit.
No. He's not passive aggressive about anything.
That's a Karen thing too. They're like, oh yeah, you honk your horn, I'm gonna call your boss. Like Harrisonites are famous.
No.
For that
Hold up. It's not just honking the horn. Okay. It is harassment. It's legit harassment, and his wife works from home. Okay. And she's on the phone talking with her boss and talking with clients and prospective customers and shit. And the guy is refusing to not honk his horn. He'll just go out of the car, fucking honk the horn for 5 minutes, and then go back inside. He's doing it to be an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
now, so let's some what if scenario here.
Absolutely.
Like within that first time, instead of like raging, I think that could have been handled overall better.
No, he actually went over.
Escalate.
No, he actually went over to talk to him. Like there was no escalation on his part.
Mm-hmm.
This is all the other guy. He actually went over to talk to him about like, hey, is there any way that you can not do that? My wife's working from home. That's exactly what he said. And the tone that he used. The guy got mad, went into the house, got his keys, went back to his car, left, came back about an hour later, and then laid on his horn and then walked inside. But he's got videos. He's got fucking videos. Okay. This is a refusal to communicate.
Yeah.
All right. Not on my friend's part, but on his neighbor's part. He is refusing to communicate just a neighborly communication, like, hey, this is a thing. Is there any way we can not do this thing? And the guy goes, no, fuck you, and goes inside. Okay. That's the issue. That's what's caused most of this. Yeah. Now, there is...
David, come in.
There you are.
We have a new guest here. Hello.
I
just had a couple of minutes before work.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
You're good.
So, anyway, that is a refusal to communicate, which ties into your communication issues. That there is a lack of communication skills or a lack of listening on their part. So I do feel like your issue is that you're not giving them enough time to learn.
Yeah.
In order to graduate from novice to at least an amateur level of communication. And I think time is really what's needed.
Maybe.
I had to burp. Oh, I didn't want to burp close to
Oh, well, yeah. Burp away from the mic.
Garrett, come and sit down. Join the guests.
Be careful with the mic. It's very, very, very gentle. Very.
Bump it.
Yeah, don't.
My big
It'll
ass
fall
right
off.
there, you go.
So we have Floyd's husband's Kyle. He's here for a moment. I'm sure you've been listening.
Yes, I have.
What is your Oh, we are not.
I should say I missed like 15 minutes because I had to go to the post office.
Okay.
So
Okay, so Dan, we are not shrinks. We've had I know I've had a few years of therapy under my belt just
as have
from
I.
being, the one in therapy. I do have some work or education in the field. I'm not a shrink. I'm not a therapist, but I do have education in it. In the sense that I have had on-the-job training, or I've taken a few college courses in psychology as well. That doesn't make me a psychologist or a shrink or a therapist. And where I work, there's a constant stream of, you need to know this. I know more about mental health issues than I'd say the average guy.
Yeah.
Just because of my job, I have to know that. So there is a premise that we do know what we're talking about, in the sense that we work in the field, or the mental health field, but not in the sense that we are professionals.
I don't know about you, but I'm a freaking professional in everything I do.
Oh, are you a professional
Yeah.
in everything you do?
Everything, motherfuckers.
Pro at failure, huh?
Pretty damn much, yeah.
So
Okay, Jesus Christ. I've been clearing these like the entire time we've been doing this podcast.
I've
It's,
noticed.
like, every few seconds, like minimum.
I don't have a Tinder profile. I wouldn't know.
I'm
Yeah.
about to uninstall that.
I'm not putting my sexy ass out there. I get text messages constantly.
Tinder's like I don't know.
It's
Tinder
like an
seems
online
like-
orgy.
No, it's a bunch of dudes being like, "Hey,
There's
I have
a
a
lot of
guitar and
women.
a dick. Sit on my face." That's what fucking Tinder is.
You know what? If you've got
Tell
a
me I'm
guitar and you're good at it, I may
no,
sit on your dick.
No, it's some dude sitting in his mama's basement.
I
mean-
it's not always the mama's basement. One of our actually good friends who owns his own, who I saw him on there last night. He owns his own business. He's fairly well off. He does all of the computer programming and
yes.
everything. I saw him on Tinder last night. That was rather interesting.
I discovered this.
What are you
this
doing?
morning.
Oh,
Key for what?
Handcuff.
it's a handcuff
Nice.
key.
All
Yes,
right,
it is.
So a good friend of mine, Charlie, gifted my husband with this self-defense
It's
pin.
a tactical pin.
It's
It is
a
a
tactical
tactical pin.
pin, and it's got a DNA stripper. So you like, if you're being attacked or
Here's my other
something,
one.
you like stick it in them and twist, and it gets skin scrapings and blood.
I
And
mean,
all
that's
that kind
pretty
of
much
stuff.
how sex goes. You stick it in them and twist.
Oh.
I mean,
And then blood gets everywhere and you go to jail.
Yeah. Anyway,
hey, no problem.
So
no
he's
problem.
just like in the middle of everything. Oh, hey, look what this can do. There's
We've got
handcuff
we've
key.
got another comment from Dan. He says, "I'm one of those grenade launchers. So this is hitting home. Thank you." And I get it.
It's not always healthy to be the grenade launcher.
No,
though.
but okay, all right. I'm not saying that it's healthy, but what it does is separate you from the issue, and you're willing to destroy everything in order to keep your level of sanity.
No.
I understand why he does it, and Dan, I totally get why you do it, because you don't want to deal with other people's bullshit in your life. You've met people who constantly throw their shit onto you, and they expect you to take care of it. That's unreasonable.
Yeah, see,
Okay.
I feel
And-
like I have the tendency to be one of those.
You can
grenade
fucking
launchers.
throw grenades too. Okay. Everybody can throw grenades. I can throw some grenades. I've made 40-year-old men cry.
I just call it Kool-Aid Man syndrome.
Well, yes, but yours is very toned down
Yeah,
compared. Okay. I've seen
it's not like coyote piss underneath the window seals.
it's not on the windowsill. I would never put coyote piss on a windowsill. I would encourage other people to put it in someone's air conditioner unit. Window units are the best. Anyway,
Indeed.
moving on. I understand why they do it. I really do. I understand that they've got their own shit and they feel like their plate is full. And rather than have their plate get too full and start spilling off on the sides, and they would just shut you down in whatever manner it takes to shut you down so that they can move on. Okay, they are not responsible for you. These are people who are responsible for themselves and themselves alone. And if they invite you into their lives and they feel like they're responsible for you, they will go to the ends of the earth to fuck shit up. Because that's the kind of people they are. They're not people who are...
So I kind of identify with that a little bit.
Yeah, these are people who, when they're responsible for you, if this is your father, your mother, your uncle, aunt, someone in your life, or your friend, let me tell you, they feel responsible for you. And these are the kind of friends that you want in your life because they're going to be blunt. They're going to be honest. They're going to tell you exactly the way they feel about the situation and whether or not you're being a dumbass. Okay?
Oh, I love it when people tell me dumbasses and explain to me why. Well, tell me I'm a dumbass and explain to me why I'm wrong.
Right.
There's not enough people in the world.
No, well, I do that quite well, I think.
Yeah.
But no, those are the kind of friends who actually care about you. Real care. Okay.
Does that mean you love me?
It means that I care about you.
Oh, I do.
Okay. Because no, I mean, like, I care about your well-being, so I'm willing to tell you up front and honestly what I think about the situation. And I've done that a time or two, and it's really fucked you up.
Yeah, but it makes me stop and reevaluate and change.
Yes. Okay, and that's the whole point. I care enough to tell you the truth. I'm not going to pander to your emotions. I don't think anybody should pander to another person's emotions.
No, you're right.
Even a child's. Okay, a child is going to go through and have a lot of emotions. Don't pander to a child's emotions. Teach them how to be effective as an adult in the community. Okay, like everybody. Okay, and this is another thing. Everybody wants to throw out the respect and honor your mother and father and shit like that, but no one wants to be like, don't provoke your child to anger.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. Like, if you're going to get biblical and be like, oh, you need to respect and honor your mother and father.
I had a stepdad who was you've met him.
Yeah.
He delighted in just pissing me off.
Hey, look.
He still does.
Oh, yeah, I know it still does.
Don't provoke your child to anger. That's biblical. And I know you guys don't agree with the premise of the Bible, but there are lessons in there that are viable.
Yeah.
Okay. The sentence, just do not provoke your child to anger. Don't try and piss them off. Children are crafty and they're smart little bastards, and they will fuck up your shit. Okay. My wife's sister, I love her. She got angry at her mom. Her mom did something to piss her off. So what did she do? She took fucking habanero, ground that shit up, and put it in her fucking coffee. And then her mom made coffee that morning and had a nice old spicy cup of Joe.
That would be good as hell.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I like spicy coffee, especially when you take some cocoa and add some cocoa in and make it like a chocolate chili coffee.
I try it though. I would totally try it.
Let's do it.
I've stomped some challenges. I'm not doing it with my coffee maker because I keep.
You'll never get it out of there.
Yeah, no, I'll never get it out of there, and I keep purified water in my coffee maker. Like, I don't use any other kind of water.
Okay, no. Okay, so don't like put it through. Put like habanero oil directly in the.
We'll figure out another way to do that.
Directly in the pot. You can wash that out. It's just glass.
I'll try. I mean, I'll try it. Like, I tried coffee with salt once. That's the worst shit in the world.
Who the fuck puts salt in their coffee?
Someone who thinks that it's sugar.
Good job.
I didn't do it on purpose. I thought it was sugar. It is nasty. It was so nasty. It tasted like ass incarnate.
Now I want chocolate chili coffee. Like, that shit sounds good.
Now hold on. I do like
whip it up with some just a tiny bit of heavy cream to kind of make the oil blend into the coffee better.
I was way too tired. Way too tired.
God. Guess what I'm doing?
Well, you know what? You make it. I'll try it. We'll try it together, and we'll let you guys know how ass it tastes like. And
I'm going to make me a spicy frappuccino. That's what I'm going to make.
now, I think if it was like with a little bit like cayenne and chocolate, it wouldn't be bad because cayenne has more of a flavor to it than habanero does. I mean, habaneros are sweet, but
Yeah, they
it's not.
definitely have a sweet heat. We tried these habanero pickles,
They're delicious.
and I'm like, all I taste is sugar.
Okay, for those of you who are allspice with coffee,
I've tried allspice with coffee, and I was
and
not.
that's from Chef Tom, so he knows what the fuck he's talking
No,
about.
I was not a fan.
That he knows what he's talking. He's a chef.
I like cinnamon in my coffee. Cinnamon's good, but allspice,
I
no.
don't care for cinnamon.
I cannot stand anything that contains clove.
I love cloves though.
Cannot stand
Like I
clove.
straight up, I throw cloves in just about
It
everything.
reminds me of rotten teeth.
No.
It does, because when you get like an
I think you need to change your perspective and look on top and realize it's a fucking flower. Anyway, for those for our listeners, I have actually completed several of the world's spiciest challenges. The spiciest chocolate bar, I stomped that shit. That was like $25 a pop, and they're only about the size of 2 quarters. What was the other one that we did?
The scorpion pepper.
Yeah, the scorpion pepper. I ate one of those bastards.
Yeah, I've got all of the videos on the Facebook.
Yes, they're all
and
on
they're
her
all
Facebook.
public.
Yep.
And the one with the spicy pepper has a nice 45-second shot of his wife's ass for everybody's viewer pleasure.
Indeed, it does.
You know, it's okay. As her husband, I'm just going to put this out there. Okay, I'm actually comfortable with people looking because I realize that they're going to.
Yeah.
They're gonna whether you want them to or not.
Right. Touch it and I'll chop your hands off. Like
Right.
that's just my mentality on it. Because it was something I had to get used to because she is very attractive. And when we first started dating, I did have some like, I don't know if I'm comfortable with this. But then it just kept happening and I realized there was nothing I could do about it. So, and that's something, guys, you got to actually like work on your jealousy here. Okay. Like I understand being territorial and I understand the difference between that and jealousy. At the end of the day, however, you gotta really take your time and sit down and understand that if it's not yours, it's jealousy. And I was a little jealous because men did look at her. They do look at her. So in order to move past that,
Here,
let me tell
guys,
you
I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, you go do that. In order to move past that feeling, I had to grow as a person and understand that my wife was going to get looked at by other men because she is attractive, and understand that she was with me, not those other guys. And it's the same as you looking at another woman. You know, the guys are going to be interpreting that in their own way. But I was just happy that she was with me. And that's what helped me move past it. It was just the acceptance of who she was and the acceptance of the scenario and really just appreciating everything. And I'm not saying appreciating as in liking it, but appreciating it as knowing that it's going to happen, accepting it and moving past it. And does olive oil work for your throat? You know, honestly, I've never used olive oil for my throat. Now I use it for cooking. I don't know exactly what you're asking there, Chef Tom. So if you want to give me a little bit more like backstory to that comment, I'd be willing to answer that. Anyway, my co-host and her husband has stepped out, so I'm just gonna say some shit, I guess, without anybody else here. Actually, you know what? I'll address the comments. Has anybody got any questions or anything for me? Because that'll take up a little bit of time so that they can have their conversation. Let's see here. We'll go with, okay. For those of you who are just turning in, today's podcast is about dating, self-value, and neurotic tendencies. We've touched up a lot on dating and self-value, not so much the neurotic tendencies. And I'm sure, I don't know, is there anybody here who doesn't understand what neurotic tendencies are? You guys are great at responding quickly. I'll just explain it. Okay. So your basic neurotic tendencies are, well, they can be a majority of things. I occasionally just dance out of nowhere because, I feel happy. In my experience, giving into neurotic tendencies have been a majority of it. Oh, okay. Ace is working while listening. Oh, no, I've never used olive oil on my throat to reduce the burn. I like the burn. Like, all the challenges that I did were just straight up. I didn't use anything to cover it up. Of course, I was raised in the West, places where there was, chili festivals and, the chili season, like green chili. I love that shit. I live in Arkansas. About twice a year, me and my grandparents drive to New Mexico to go pick up green chili and bring it back in giant tubs because I don't like the green chili that I'm able to get here. It's not the same. I'd rather get fresh green chili and blanch it and save it myself because I know where it comes from. I was able to get it myself, pick it, and that's just, I appreciate that. I've actually got a better eye for spicy green chili, and I prefer the flavor of that over just a broad-based flavor.
I apologize for the coughing. I have the Rona.
Oh, do you have the Rona?
No, I sucked a spicy chicken nugget down my throat earlier.
Oh, why'd you do
I'm
that?
back.
Because I hit a bump while driving and eating.
All right, what are we talking now?
So Chef said a competitor like yourself uses olive oil and gargles to get it around his throat. And he says that it reduces the burn.
I just eat that shit straight because
yes.
the burn is nice.
Oh,
That's what I said.
Of course, I'm also a really big sub, so I kind of like the torture.
Are you talking competitive eating with peppers?
There's competitive spice eaters and shit like that.
If you put any kind of oil, it's gonna coat it long enough for it to get
right.
This seems way the hell off topic.
It is.
Well, we brought that up, Chef. I asked him, to I said I would address any comments and shit. What the fuck happened to your leg? Did you burn?
She caught herself on the exhaust on the bike.
I was about to say that.
Why, okay, I'll throw this in there.
No,
If you have a
shut
motorcycle,
up.
Don't wear fucking shorts while you're
Hold
riding.
on.
Dress for the
How
slide,
about-
not the ride.
Here, hold on. How about this? If you're a passenger of a motorcycle, don't throw your fucking legs down on the ground.
Okay, on topic.
Back on the topic. We'll discuss that another day.
Yeah. So neurotic tendencies they're common and may manifest themselves as acute or chronic anxiety, depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, a phobia. It could be a personality disorder. They're really all over the place. Now, I'm sure everybody knows that one person who's just a little neurotic, just a little bit like kind of out there. Okay. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means that you might have one of those issues. I'm a bit neurotic in the sense that, I dance around the house naked because it's my fucking house. But if somebody walked in through the door, they'd be like, what the fuck is this neurotic tendency? Maybe not in those words, be more like, what the fuck are you doing? And I would say, it's my house, my rules. I'm naked. If you don't want to see it, get the fuck out.
I've literally done that.
That's
before.
not exactly neurotic.
No, it's not.
Literally
But
done
it's
that to somebody before.
it's the difference between it's a marshmallow cookie covered in chocolate.
Oh, don't you have so many sweets around your house?
I don't eat sweets. I'm diabetic.
If Wilford Brimley were to haunt you,
You would hear literally diabetes
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
No, I honest to God think that if I was ever to be haunted, I would be haunted by like Minnesota Fats. I feel like that would be my personal ghost.
Oh.
Okay, so Ultimate Karen. Oh God, I love that name. Says, I feel the same way about my entire municipality. The neurotic tendencies, yes. There are, and I feel like there's actually a lot more people who are neurotic in nature
Mm-hmm.
rather than neurotic because of a mental disorder.
Right.
And that's what I mean by like I'm neurotic in nature. I do some weird shit. If you don't like it, get the fuck out.
See, like
my house.
I've always been like neurotic and anxiety filled and just odd. And I honestly couldn't really specifically point out one thing that started it. It's just always been there.
I think honestly for me, I'm neurotic in spirit, just in the sense that as a person, okay, if those of you who play D&D, you'll understand. I'm very chaotic neutral. Okay, just as a person, I do a lot of weird shit, and that's just me. My wife made that comment, and the longer I've thought about it, the more I realize that she's totally fucking right.
You just play as yourself.
I did. I did once, and it was the weirdest campaign we've ever had. Okay. I ended up getting my hand stuck in some monster's ass, and it dragged me across the floor. Long story, but that was the end of it. So yeah, I love D&D. I really, my wife actually, we got married, and then she found out I'd never played it. So she set up an entire game just to teach me how to play it. And for the longest time, that's what we did on the weekends. We'd have D&D and we'd cook. And
Nerds.
Okay, so I've legit never played a game either.
I haven't either. I've always wanted to learn.
Oh God, it's actually
like I have a kid that plays it. And
Yeah.
fucking has makes his own campaigns and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
But he
I've
won't
always
teach me how to play it.
He's
I've
afraid.
asked him.
He's
He
afraid.
won't teach me
Okay.
how.
Like I played. All right. Okay. Yeah. My wife brought my wife. Okay. So a little bit of information about my wife. My wife was actually a pro gamer for a little bit. She was in the top 0.05% or top 0.005% of players on Smite. I'm sure you guys might have heard of that.
that is an ugly one.
She did a lot of gameplay. She also did a few competitions for Call of Duty. She's really good at that kind of shit. And that's just who she is as a person. And
I gotta go to work.
all right. Have a great day. Kyle's signing off. He's going to work. We actually sit in the living room, and for our own mental health, we actually play games together. Right now, she's playing Minecraft, so I've got Minecraft too, and we get on and we play together. That's the majority of how we spend our time together.
Are you grabbing another cookie?
Don't judge me. I'm fat.
Eat them, please. Get them out of my house. My wife loves to bake, and my house is filled with fucking cookies and shit, and I'm diabetic. Like, God, it's awful.
Yeah, I can always let the boys come over for an afternoon.
You know what? Honestly, like the next time she bakes, I'll let you know. Because
I'll just randomly stop by with all three kids and Kyle.
Well, Miss Sharon passed away last weekend. So we no longer give away the majority of it to her because Miss Sharon was too old to cook for herself. So my wife would bake cookies and stuff. And she was a fantastic older lady. She was like family.
I know. She was very sweet.
So she's, passed now. And because of that, last time my wife cooked, I had 2 platters of cookies. There was like 4 dozen cookies on each platter. Plus there was a cake, and she made tiramisu.
And cheesecake.
Oh, yeah, the cheesecake. I forgot about cheesecake.
And a coffee cake.
Oh, gosh, she did make the coffee cake. Is that it?
God.
She did that in an afternoon. Because she wanted to. Like, I don't buy flour.
I don't
by
see
the
how
small
she's
bags.
not 400 pounds.
You want to know, honest to God? Okay, she's actually hypoglycemic. No, I'm hypoglycemic. She's hyperglycemic.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're actually opposing on each side. So she eats all the candy and shit, and I'm over here drinking water.
Opposite. She's hypo. You're hyper.
Okay, there you go. One or the other. We're opposite of each other. So my wife is like 100.
See, that's the thing. She could sustain herself if she just ate more protein.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Not as many sugar. That way she won't get the sugar drops. Like if she cut out the majority of the sugar and just went to complex carbs and protein, like she wouldn't have the sugar drops.
She's a steak and potatoes kind of girl. And candy. Steak, potatoes, and candy. Lots of candy. When we were dating, I had to budget money for candy. Okay. I want you to hear this. Okay, I had to budget money for candy. Once again, because I'm sure you don't believe me, I had to budget money for candy every paycheck. Every paycheck. Was that every paycheck? Yes, every paycheck. And yes, that's my vape. Every paycheck. I had to budget money for candy. Why? Because she eats so much fucking candy and she weighs 130 pounds straight. Okay? There's no up, there's no down. $70 of candy a week. Oh, do you? I was thinking about buying a new mod. Right now I'm running with
no vape talk.
Well,
we need to end the podcast. We're going on 2 hours. We are exactly at 2 hours.
It shuts down at 3. Pause.
So, no, fucking hell, no.
No.
Shut the fuck up.
Stop. Go over there.
Shut the fuck up. I gotta get home to my kids.
Go. I'll talk to him. So I've been vaping for several years now. I've actually had my mod and my my RDA for about 4 years, and it's about, well, actually she vapes too. She's trying to quit altogether though. So she's trying to get to that point where she can just drop it all, but she just went out and bought a new mod. And
I didn't just buy a new mod.
That one?
No, this one's broken. This is the old one.
Oh, I thought that was a new one.
No, like it keeps shutting itself off. Like, watch it.
Pull the batteries out, put it back in.
It's so fucked up. And then it keeps turning itself like all the way down. And then I go hit it. And it's like, what the hell? That's the new mod. Fucking Vaporesso is turning into smock. It sucks.
Okay. All right. Well, besides that, I self-medicated for a very long time. A majority of that was, alcohol. I started smoking at a young age. I was probably about 14. So by the time I started vaping, I was 22. Or 24-ish, 25, right in there. I had already smoked for a solid decade before switching over to vape. And that has, honest to God, saved me. Like, I haven't looked back once I started vaping.
I was a smoker. I started smoking at like 13.
Mm-hmm.
And I smoked up until I started taking my health into priority. So it was about 2 years ago that I quit smoking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, longer than that. It's been about 4 years now.
No, because I still smoked when I was with my husband. Me and my husband. After we were married. It's been about 2 years. I know there for a year, it was kind of touch and go of trying to switch over. And then I finally just like refused to buy a pack of cigarettes. And then, it fucked with me for a bit. And then now I'm going to have to do the same thing with the vape, because ultimately, like, I know I'm on an extremely low nicotine. Like, my nicotine level is only 1.5. I stepped down from a 6, but I still need to quit.
I'm going to go ahead and just put this out there in order to help you guys achieve your goals. Okay. This is something that I use in my life every day. And I want you guys to try the same thing. Okay. If you guys constantly eat fast food and you constantly like, oh, I don't want to eat fast food anymore. Instead of saying, I don't want to eat fast food, because you'll end up buying fast food, say, I don't eat fast food. And then you reinforce that every time you drive by like McDonald's or some shit. Just say, I don't eat fast food, or a Burger King, or a Taco Bell. Reinforce that behavior by saying it out loud. I don't do this. And it makes it so much easier to pass that up on the next time. It's the same thing with smoking cigarettes. It started, and I was trying to Pavlov myself, actually, but I ended up finding another psychology preference.
See, the only time I've ever been able to Pavlov myself is when it comes to sexual things. Now, anytime I hear the slide of a belt and that little rattle belt buckle, instantly wet. Fucking annoys the shit out of me.
You can do
like,
that
I
to yourself.
slid my own belt the other day, and I was like, I gave myself tingles. I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? It's awful.
Well, I was trying to do that to myself, and I ended up finding another form of not another form of psychology, it's a school of psychology, where instead of giving into your wants and desires, you reinforce the desire that you want by saying you don't do whatever it is you want to do, whatever it is you want to change. And that does help you move on. Now, you will slip up. I'm not saying that you won't in the beginning, but it's about beginning and starting the behavior. And when you start and you hold true to that, it will help you out. That's actually how I quit smoking. It started off as, I bought my vape and I was still smoking at the same time, and not healthy for anyone. But, I
think
read
that's
up.
how the majority of smokers start out, though.
Majority,
and
yes.
vaping.
But I was able to get off cigarettes in 2 months.
That's not bad.
And it was because I read up on it and I'm like, all right, I don't smoke. And the next time I went into a gas station, I'm like, hey, do you want a pack of cigarettes? Because they know me. Everybody knows you in this small fucking town. They're like, hey, do you want a pack of cigarettes? I'm like, no, I don't smoke. And they gave me a weird look, but they dropped the issue and I walked out and I stopped buying cigarettes. And that's how I did it. I just said I didn't do it out loud. And it helped. It really does. It gives you that, I don't know, reinforcement almost to walk past that. So just a great trick for you guys. There's some people who say that you need to, it's an oral fixation. So get a old or a cigarette wrapper and wrap up some gum in it so you can have that oral fixation taken care of. But I feel like that just reinforces the oral fixation rather than, overcoming it. I'm very much a cold turkey kind of person. I try as hard as I can to quit something cold turkey. And that's not healthy all the time. I'm going to express that. Like if you've been on pain meds or anything for a long time, you got to step it down, especially methadone. Or holy hell, that really got you good.
Shut up.
Damn.
It itches.
I bet it does.
It doesn't really hurt right now. It's just itching. Yeah. There's that, and then the gravel burn here.
Well, okay. As far as the cold turkey is concerned, or quitting cold turkey, it's not that I'm stronger or weaker. It's not that you're weaker or stronger. It's not that anybody asked me to either. I was dating my wife, and at the time I found out that she didn't like people who smoked. Now, we were already dating. She never asked me to quit. It was something that I wanted. And I like to give in to the things that I want. And I use that to achieve my goal. I wanted to quit smoking because I did like my wife. I married her, but even when we first started dating, I enjoyed her personality and the way that she moved, and just everything really just caught me with her. So I wanted to keep that in my life, and that want was stronger than my want for a cigarette. So I sought to change it. So it's really just replacing one habit with another. That's the easiest way to get rid of habits. And there's many, many, many books on psychology about replacing habits with other habits, healthy habits, typically. Sometimes we replace a habit or a healthy habit with an unhealthy habit, but my habit was my wife. I made that what I wanted. So that became my habit. And that's why I talk about her so much, is because she's what I want every day. She's who I want to be around every day. I sit here on the fucking couch and I stare at her sometimes, and she looks at me like I'm fucking retarded. And she's like, what? I'm like, I'm sorry, you're just pretty. Let me stare at you for a little bit. She's like, okay.
See, that's so fucking weird.
It is weird, but it's just like I'm enamored. Okay, and I'm still enamored
does
by
that
my
shit
wife.
to me all the fucking time, and it's fucking weird. It creeps me the fuck out.
Right, but okay, all right. It's some high school bullshit. It's some creepy shit. Ladies, let me just be honest with you. The boys in high school, they're not creepy because they want to be creepy. They're creepy because they don't know how to talk and communicate their own wants and needs with women because they're afraid. Okay. And the one guy that typically can communicate or talk to women is typically the asshole, and he's dated everybody else and he's broke all their other hearts. It's not that all men are bad. He just ran into the same motherfucker. Okay. The guys who are staring across the room and just going, oh my God, boobs.
Boobs. That, you know what?
Just-
That is what I do, like, all the time. I just look at a woman. See, like that right there.
She's pretty.
Yeah.
But
just boobs. Like, see boobs.
yeah, I do the same thing with my wife. But okay, it's about communicating your intentions. And I just tell my wife, I'm like, look, I want to look at you. You're pretty. You're pleasing to my eyes. I'm going to enjoy that for a little bit. And she thinks I'm weird because she doesn't think she's pretty, which is weird because my wife is hot as hell. That's what I find weird about the situation. But she thinks it's weird for someone to actually enjoy the way she looks. That's what hurts people. When we have that low level of self-esteem that we can't appreciate our own selves. Like, I know my body isn't amazing, but I'm still a sexy bitch. Like, that's really just how I view myself. And that's, I don't know. It's not confidence. I just know I am attractive to a lot of people. So I go about my day with confidence. It's big dick energy for those of you who would rather me use that term. But it's not about having a big dick. It's just having that energy. Women can have big dick energy. Okay. You have big dick energy on some days.
I do have a lot of big
and you
dick
like
energy.
fucking strutting in there with your fucking shins, like in your hair, the fucking extensions or whatever they're called.
I fucking love my extensions.
I know. And you just fucking walk in there like queen shit because you know what? Everybody needs that sometimes. Okay. Today.
Yeah, but I've been told recently that my big dick energy is too intimidating. So I feel like
then their little dick energy doesn't need to compare to your big dick energy.
So I'm like trying to be self-aware at the same time, and I'm just like,
you're letting other people dictate how you feel about yourself. Don't do that. Okay, if they're intimidated by you, then they need to step their shit up. Don't pull someone down. Okay, and that's what they're doing. They're pulling you down. They need to be pushed up or pulled up. Something. Get that energy out. Everybody has the ability to have that kind of energy.
Yeah.
Okay. It's about finding it. If you're depressed, when intimidated, it's always best to call 911. God, that's ultimate Karen. That's amazing. So I was just watching a video on Karen's the other day, and let me tell you, wow. Just wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, hold on. Edgar, we're calling me.
Oh, okay. But no, don't let people pull you down and force you to feel certain ways. That's unhealthy. If you allow people to do that and you make them feel comfortable, I'm sorry. Frederick says you don't have to be sexy to have a good feeling about life. If your self-esteem relates to your sexiness, you'd be fucked. Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, God.
You good?
I'm good.
Okay. So Frederick just said, and I'm going to go ahead and repeat it. You don't have to be sexy to have a good feeling about life. If your self-esteem relates to your sexiness, you'd be fucked. That's very true. Now, I still think I'm a sexy motherfucker. That doesn't give me big dick energy. What gives me big dick energy is when I wake up and my life is great because I've got an amazing wife. I've got a place of my own. The bills are paid. I know that I'm adulting in the correct way. I know it's on me to make this and keep this up, but I've gotten to the point in my life where I can get it. I can keep this. Okay, this is easy. And me and my wife were right at that point where we're going to take that next step to buy a house. Tess says, I don't think that's necessarily true. All that matters is that you can manifest that confidence in a healthy way. That's true. That is true. I'll agree with that. Manifesting confidence in a healthy way is better. But don't knock confidence for those who, if they find it in that way, don't knock it for them. Okay? Like if they've been depressed and they find some confidence in the way that they look, let them have that. Okay? It's all about perception. You perceive the world through your eyes, whereas they perceive the world through their eyes. If they're confident, let them be confident in whatever way they feel confident. Now, if they're being an asshole, that's completely different. Because there is like an asshole confidence. Okay. We call that being a dick. And if they're a dick, then it's not confidence.
I don't know. Am I a dick? Am I a bit of a dick?
No, you're really
Well,
not.
I've got that. Big
You're a bit of an asshole. Like, it's okay to be a bit of an asshole, but don't be a straight on dick. Okay.
I know I've done some things that are pretty dick moves, especially here of lately. Oh my god, lately it's been bad. Which, by the way, while we were on this, guys, I went ahead and closed out my Tinder account because I was literally tired of the amount of notifications I was getting.
Yeah.
And then in the process of trying to close out, just trying to get to the settings button, apparently I swiped and matched with 8 more people.
Dear Christ.
Okay, so it's things like that makes me confident. You know, knowing that I can snap and have my fingers and literally have whomever I want when I want. But at the same time, that also gives me my disadvantage because I'm not getting the quality that I need. What are the comments?
Ace says, great accident. Laugh crying emoji. And Ultimate Karen says, I saw some dicks playing basketball the other day. I stole the ball and screamed. Like, I like this person. That's awesome.
Are you sure that's not Steve?
No.
Steve, like seriously, click twice if this is you, Steve. Jesus Christ.
No, it's not.
Steve.
Yeah, it does sound like something he would do, but it doesn't matter.
You know, that's the thing. So when I see dicks playing basketballs, I immediately drop to my knees and hold out my tongue. That's just an automatic move.
God damn it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wow. I'll tell you what, while we have,
let's go ahead and wrangle this in.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrangle this in. We've been on for 2 hours and 16 minutes. I want you guys to, and I know you guys are, most of you are busy, but for those of you who aren't, throw something into the comments real quick and ask it, or, you know, we're asking you to give us some feedback real quick. Tell us what you want us to talk about on Thursday's podcast.
All right. Yeah, so, that'd be fun. Because, like, I'm at a loss of what to talk about Thursday. Like, I feel like we've covered so much in our past podcasts with relationships and self-care and all of that.
Going back to some of the, well, there's a lot of stuff that we, like, touched on, but we didn't really explain or give our own opinion on.
And, like, I know the next few episodes are going to be going back and, you know, touching up on some of that. But we're going to be closing out this season.
You guys don't want to hear about our car's extended warranty.
Oh my God. Me. All right. God, I've got 8 of those phone calls yesterday. That's the only people who ever call me outside of my husband.
Sex workers and being sex positive. Mm-hmm. Crazy Tinder pickup lines you've seen. Okay, that would be a fun one.
I've got okay, so I've got some screenshots about not only on Tinder, but people who have approached me in life, you know, texted my phone or texted my Facebook or Instagram. I've got some lines actually.
Honestly, I could just throw out some lines that I've used in my own personal life.
I've got a friend who's listening now, actually, who is seeing a whole mess load of a lot of the lines that I've gotten.
Sorry, guys. I'm just going to put this out there.
And
a lot of you don't have good game. Hilarious if he
piped out.
A lot of you guys don't have good game.
No, you don't.
Like, it's okay. I'll throw out some of my game. You guys can use what I put out. All right? Like, because I've got some good fucking game. You know my game. Like, I've got good game. Okay. When the ball's on my side of the court, fuck yes.
Okay. It doesn't help your game that you've literally got a hot sidekick.
My wife?
No, me.
Oh.
Like, we're seeing out and about more than you and your wife.
Well, okay, no, I'm talking about, like, before my wife. I mean, there's a reason why I married the way, like, I married up, guys. I'm just saying it. I'm just putting it out there. I married up. And I didn't just marry up, like, 1 or 2 numbers. Nah. I fucking reached for the fucking moon and ended up touching the goddamn sun. All right. Like, I reached hard and I grasped that shit. I got good game. I do. I've got pickup lines out the ass and they never work, but it's about not working. That's why they work. Okay. Just saying.
Yeah.
Officer Chaz apparently has the best game that Ultimate Karen has ever seen on
yeah?
Podbean. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see some of that game. I want to know.
Now, okay, so a few of them did comment. Let's see, sex workers and being sex positive. That was one of them.
Yeah, Kyle's he's been touching on that. Of course, he's very sex worker positive.
You know what?
In
Okay,
general.
all right, let's just put it out there. Okay. Sex workers.
You know, and being an ex-sex worker myself, you know, that is kind of God, that really puts shit into perspective. I am how I am. I am an ex-sex worker. I really don't feel like I am, but I know by definition I am. So it really fucks with me.
So, also crazy Tinder pickup lines. Yeah, we can do that. I'm writing this stuff down. Well, making myself a list.
And I'm dealing with work stuff that is already contacting me, and even though I've been off the clock since 8.
Okay. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we could talk about. We honestly do like we give ourselves like an about because we have to. You know, like dating, self-value, and neurotic tendencies. That's a broad generalization because we're not exactly sure where the conversation's going to go. A lot of our podcasts are based on the fact that we're giving our honest opinion, and scripted opinion is not honest opinion. That's shit that you've wrote down. What we're saying is honestly how we feel. It's easier to just put it out there.
What does Ultimate Karen have to say now?
There was initially 2 of us, Ace, Forrest, and OJ, but another 4 people entered the game yesterday.
Oh. Nice.
I probably skipped a few messages. Topic. Yeah, we're actually closing out for today.
Yep. With 100 listeners.
Now, we did just pose a question to the group chat. If there is something you want us to talk about on our next podcast on Thursday, please message us. Now, we do have a Facebook page, Just FK. It will pull that. It'll pull up the Just FK page on Facebook.
Now you got to at Morning Coffee with Just FK.
At Morning Coffee with Just FK. The chat is open on there. You guys can post. Tell us what you guys want to hear because we want feedback. Okay. We do enjoy feedback. I'm able to give you guys, what you guys want. I've got an opinion on just about anything. And if I don't have an opinion and you guys give me a topic I don't have an opinion on, I'll study it up to develop my own opinion before the podcast. So please, I really do request, feedback as well as what you guys want to hear. In the sense of topic, I'm not going to tell you what you guys want to hear if you want me to change my opinion, because fuck that. What's the point? But at this point, we're going to go ahead and close out.
Thank you guys for listening and putting up with us for 2.5 freaking hours.
Hey, you know what? I enjoy our longer podcasts.
It makes me not want to do anything for the rest of the week.
I know.
And it gets way the fuck off topic, like vape.
Hey, you know what? That's okay.
Stay
starting
ass
right
on
is there a
topic.
God?
Jesus Christ.
Yes, I will type the name. Let's see here. It is at
Morning Coffee.
Is it all one word?
Yes, Morning Coffee with Just FK. You put a space there.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay.
I guess I can't see your things from here. I'm blind as a bat.
Morning Coffee with Just FK.
Yeah.
All one word?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, hold on. Gatorbite did ask a question. I want to address that real quick. The purpose of life, why does consciousness exist at all? I think that consciousness exists in people simply because we can afford to have a conscience. No, think about it. We change reality to suit our own needs. We change the world to suit our own needs. I think we've gotten to the point in evolution where we can afford to have a conscience, so we've developed one. That's on an evolutionary stance. If you want a biblical one, it's because God made us that way.
Fuck biblical.
I can go both ways.
See, I don't know. One could also potentially argue, at another date and time, that consciousness is not actually a thing, that literally we're just cells of a larger program doing what we were intended to do.
It's all a computer program?
Yeah. Or a cell of another biological entity.
Gator says he wonders if it's so the universe can experience itself.
I don't know, maybe. I'm a toe muscle. That's what I am. I'm a cell of a toe muscle.
What does that make me? Definitely an anus.
Probably.
Definitely an anus.
All right, guys.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that.
No, we were closing out today, and I love talking and listening to all of you and hearing Kory read the comments because I'm too blind to see them on a black background.
I love the back and forth in the comments. So I will do my best to update it and see if I can get calls on the next podcast so we can have people call in. I was told that there was an update, so we'll do our best.
Remember, guys, keep that big dick energy, and we love you. And this is us signing out. Have a good afternoon. Remember to like, subscribe, and share.
Yep. Fuck your Tuesday in the ass.
Bye.